So I'm going to start this off like this. Okay. So the 90s was a whole different era. If you notice, like, the kids that are in middle school and high school now, they look like babies now compared to what we looked like in middle school and high school in the 90s. So you have to look at the era, when the prisons updated and security. They didn't have all that back in the 90s. They had the basic security and, it was all grainy, and that was in the keys and different things like that. Where the guards were, and what none in the dorms, just actually, it was mostly to prevent people from escaping. They didn't really care about safety for the inmates inside the dorms, So y'all have to look at these stories as the 90s was a different era. And these are actually real people. And what I'm going to do is, once I go through each one of my jokes, at the end of it all, I'm going to come back and I'm going to have testimonies from some of the guys that was in these prisons and, paperwork and documents, because that's who I am. I'm a stickler for that kind of stuff. Like, I keeps up with all that because in a couple of these different prisons, a lot of lawsuits was filed. So a lot of this could be proven, So without further ado, I'm going to get into this story, and if you didn't catch the last episode, go check it out. Okay, let's get into this. Now, the community had just gave us 15 of their weapons. And like I said, in prison, you could come by weapons, but they're not easy to get. It takes time. You got to get the material and you got to file that weapon and scrape it against the concrete. You have to make that weapon, and depend on what you make that weapon out of, how much time it takes. Okay, so we have 15 of their weapons. Okay, now, the guys who just came to the prison that was coming from different prisons since Hurricane Floyd hit and damaged their prisons, they had a choice between 3 prisons of what prison did they want to come to. And they chose, most of the guys that's here chose this prison. For the life of me, I don't even understand. Maybe they just didn't know the type of things that went on in this prison, but they chose this particular prison. Okay, now we fast forward into that morning. That morning after child, they came and got me to do my last little bit of registration, getting information from me and giving them information, so, they giving me information. So, it's basically doing my last eval before I'm released in 4 months. All the things that I need to know and people to check in with, different stuff like that. I got my packet and I'm headed back to the dorm. Now, getting back to the dorm, I immediately can see something hadn't happened and took place. Unbeknownst to me, the Njcip boys and the Booty boys hadn't just got into a big altercation, and the guards, they can clearly see something hadn't took place. Either they just didn't care, or I don't know why, they didn't investigate further. So me walking back in the dorm, you see Cody rushing towards me, Derek, Roderick, and Bo rushing towards me to tell me what had just took place. So I'm going and I'm knowing something wrong because the way they coming to me, they'd wait till I made it to the end racks to tell me if it wasn't that urgent. So, they meet me. So they began to tell me, 3 of our guys walked another one of our guys to use the phone. And when they got to the phone, Buttman and the whole crew jumped them. And the rest of the crew ran down there and they all had a big old fight. And I'm like, damn, man, shit, I wasn't in here. I'm heated because I really wanted to get back at Big Bambino for sneaking me. You know what I'm saying? But everybody like, man, Gemini ain't even rush in to, and he had the most to be mad about. He didn't even rush in to fight, you know what I'm saying? He kind of hung back. So I'm like, we all puzzled about why Gemini ain't rush in to really, to rush join in with the fight, and we had just stomped him out. So there goes something else that's playing on our mind through the day while we still working on this plan, because we ain't letting up off this plan. We got to do this, and we got to do this quick, because I'm going to be released in 4 months. Now, y'all got to remember, I told y'all, soon as Gemini got to this prison, he got real buddy with Big Bambino and them. As soon as he got in this prison, and they was like in there like they knew each other their whole life. and that very rarely happen. You know what I'm saying? You suspect of stuff like that, because of the things that done happened through the years and you done seen through the years. Now, through this day, Vago and Stupid Cruz had then got into it. And I'm like, this could derail our whole plan, because what the fuck y'all getting into it for? So come to find out, one of Vago homeboys had then violated and had to took something from Stupid, and Stupid wanted it back, and Stupid knew that he had then took it because one of Stupid crew members told him, this the guy that took it. So we going over there trying to calm the situation down, but they want to fight. You know what I'm saying? Stupid want to fight the Vago homeboy that stole his stuff. So to make this go away, the best way to make it go away is to let them two dudes fight it and monitor the fight and make sure it don't go no farther than that. So Vago throw his homeboy some shoes and Stupid throw his homeboy some shoes, and we takes them to the back behind the wall, and they get back there and they tear it down. And I mean, they tore it down for a while. And then after the fight was over, they hugged it out, and we stood back there and we talked for a minute like, man, bro, we got to control our size, because this the last thing we need. We got a bigger threat in here than worry about, some misdemeanor type shit going on, So y'all got to get a better grasp over y'all crew. Now, moving on through that day, we come into another problem. Now, Chad and Q had them slept together. Now, Chad and Baby Charles is at each other's throat going hard. They about to fight. So we got to rush over there to the community and try to work this thing out. But, you know what I'm saying? It's seeming like even more problems with that, because that's almost like a love and feelings situation in there. So we kind of just cool it down and they don't fight, but they still not talking to each other. So this kind of derailing our plan too. So that's how prison is. It's very unpredictable, and like all these different minds controlling all these different minds and keeping everybody on the same task and the same mission is hard as hell, and especially when you the middleman and trying to do all this, because if it happened to me, I probably wouldn't be able to be controlled. So that's the thing about all these different minds in prison, trying to keep everybody on the same page. So all through that day, all you see is us just constantly going back over there by the community, just seeing, if they good, just kind of make our presence felt over there by them, kind of pretty much showing support so don't nothing happen during that day, because you could tell it's still heated. They don't want to be around each other. They ain't talking to each other. I mean, Q ain't talking to Baby Charles. Baby Charles ain't talking to Chad. Chad ain't talking to Baby Charles and Q. It's just a big old mess, So we just going over there to kind of show our support, like, man, come on, man, y'all gotta work this thing out, man. It gotta be something that can happen that work this thing out, man. Things like that gonna happen, man. They presents itself, we all up in here, and finally we get those guys to shake hands and get back good and apologize for what they did and things like that. And Chad tell Q, he was going through something, you know what I'm saying? And one thing led to another. And that happened between them by mistake, that wasn't meant to happen, and he never wanted to do nothing to hurt Baby Charles. And, they talked it out and they was pretty much good. They wasn't like they was, but they was good. Okay, so going into that night, we see Gemini go and use the phone. Now, even though Gemini didn't jump in with the fight, he's still one of their boys. He's still rolling with them tough, you know what I'm saying? And I could never understood why he chose to run with them guys, but he did. So, you know what I'm saying? You didn't just caught our guys going to the phone. Now you at the phone, your crew did. Now we see you, so we trying to hurry up and make it down there while Gemini on the phone, but Gemini spots us coming, and he hurry up and call the boys and then run over there back by them, you know what I'm saying? And they pull out some weapons, you know what I'm saying? Like, they ready for us. They posturing up. They ready for us. So, okay, that didn't happen right then and there. But we really wanted to get Gemini. But, he spotted us coming. So during the process, them was retrieving their weapons to pull out their weapons when we was coming. They noticed that a lot of their weapons wasn't in the spot where they put them at. So they knew the only people that was close by those weapons was the community. So now night then fell all the way in. So without no warning or nothing, they just attacked the community. Buttman stole on Red, bow, hit Red and knocked Red completely off his feet. He didn't knock him out, but he knocked him completely off his feet. See, now they playing in strategy mode. So, they know we way at the back. So their whole strategy was get over there, stomp the community, and stomp them before we can make it up there to help them. So that's what they did. They got over there and stomped the whole community. And by the time we made it all the way to the front, they had to made it back to their side and, had weapons waiting on us to attack. So we knew attacking, it wasn't going to really do much justice. So all we did was make sure the community was straight, and tell them, look, we watching for it if it happened again. And, we going to kind of move up closer to keep a better eye. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't nothing but a dust up, so they was good. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing really serious happened to them. So it was cool. But we knowing how they playing now. Oh, y'all moving into a chess mode now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all moving pieces around on the board. So a little later that night, we see Gemini, and Gemini, like, he off to himself. He still with him, but he off to himself. He look like he in deep thought. It look like he thinking about something. He just kind of, in his own little world. And the booty boys, they just over there doing, the usual, just looking at the community, just making faces, laughing, like, just childish things that they doing, just because they feel like they got over, you know what I'm saying? And the whole objective is to stomp them out, to try to keep them separate from us, to say, well, can't nobody help you when we come to get you. Okay, now, Gemini is still out to himself. It just look like, and lately he been on that phone a lot lately. It look like he want to make it over there to that phone and use the phone again, so we watching it, because we gonna get him this time if he go over there and use that phone. So we watching every move he make. But he just kind of sticking to himself, and he just, every now and then he'll walk over there towards them, and then he'll walk back, you know what I'm saying? But he never leaving too far away from them, you know what I'm saying? So we can't really get him. So if we get to him, we don't care if they run up or whatever. We're going to be prepared. We need to start taking these guys out either all together or one at a time. So about an hour later, we see Gemini gathering up a couple of his boys, his bitches, that, and because he ready to go take his shower. So, he taking half of the boys with him, they kind of deep, but he leaving Bambino and Tay-Tay, and he just taking a couple of the new boys with him, but they deep and they walking towards us. We got our eyes on them and they kind of deep, and we know they got their weapons with them. So, ain't nothing really gonna happen. So they walks to the showers, and they go back there and take their showers and stuff. You can hear them and they're taking their showers. The water come on, you can hear that because we at the last rack, which is Darrell and T-Rex. We at the last rack and they up in there taking they showers. Now, we don't go in attack mode because this can be a strategy. This can be a chess move because we'll go in the bathroom all to go attack them, and then the rest of they boys will block us in without us even knowing they done came behind us and jug all us up or something. So we don't go in attack mode. We just kind of watching everything to make sure this ain't a move, so we see Gemini. Now, Gemini been out to himself this whole time. Now, he goes walk over there to where Bambino still at the front, because he didn't go with them to go take a shower. He go walk over there talking to Bambino, and you could just see his hands moving. He just doing a little something, it looked like a friendly conversation. So, after about 15 minutes of Big Bambino and Gemini talking, all of a sudden you see Gemini pulls out his weapon real fast and start jugging and sticking Big Bambino. Now everybody, the prison in the uproar because this happening, and Tay-Tay takes out running back there to go tell Buttman what's going on. Then Buttman comes running back up there, buck naked, straight out the shower, comes running straight in his slippers, buck naked back there to see what's going on. Now, he don't immediately go into attack mode and attack Gemini to help Bambino, and Gemini is still poking Big Bambino, and he pulls Gemini off of him like, man, what's going on? And Gemini getting off and he end up losing grip on Gemini, and Gemini goes back over and still starts sticking him again. This for my cousin, huh? This for my cousin. Yeah. And finally, Budman gets him and then breaks up the fight, get the knife out of Gemini's hand, and they go beat on the door for the COs to get Big Bambino help. So the CO come in and he automatically radios that a stabbing is going on. So, and he closed the damn door back. And then, 15, 20 minutes later, here comes the COs in full riot gear. They come in with the first aid kit and they all patch Big Bambino up as best as possible and takes him out. And close the door and leave us back in here. Now, at this time, the AC still broke now. So tempers are still up and nobody is knowing what happened between those two dudes. All we heard him say is, this for my cousin. So we trying to figure out what the hell going on. So, they done took Big Bambino out of here. Now, they still haven't got Gemini because at this time, they not knowing he the one who did it. So, Buttman and Gemini having the conversation, this conversation just going, we can't hear what's going on. It's just going on and on and on and on and on. But we see the community, they can hear what's going on. So we going to wait till they finish talking and then go ask the community what happened. Why did Gemini stab Big Bambino up? So about an hour later, all you see is the doors pop open and they come up in there, say, get back, everybody get in front of your rack, put your hand behind your head, get on your knees. And they go straight to Gemini, spray Gemini and take Gemini the fuck on out of here. So that means Big Bambino told him Gemini did this to him. He's a snitch now. So when you in a crisis, you can't predict about what you gonna say, if you gonna keep it solid or if you gonna snitch. He probably thinking he gonna die. Which I'll tell y'all what happened with that, at the end of it all. But Gemini and Buttman is like they having a real heated conversation. Cause Buttman looked like he want to do Gemini something cause him and Big Bambino been boys this whole time. And like I said, Gemini had just got real buddy with Big Bambino while Buttman was in the hole. He had got real buddy with them soon as he got up in there. So before we can either wait till the argument stop between Buttman and Gemini, all you see is Stupid come run over into us. Man, get what? Man, Big Gemini stabbed Big Bambino up because that's him and Ralph first cousins. What? This dude Gemini is the first cousin to Ralph. And if y'all remember, Big Bambino was the one who was behind D doing what he did to Ralph. D did that for Big Bambino. And Gemini, remember I told you these guys had a choice out of 3 prisons? Gemini chose to come to this prison. He had no idea that he would even possibly land in this dorm. But he did, and when he did, he immediately befriended Big Bambino with that intent. He knew who he was immediately upon him getting in this prison. And this type of thing right here, I done seen this more than once that happened throughout my jokes. I done seen this happen more than once. So, this ain't like this was a big occurrence. Some guys knowingly go into somewhere and knowing what names to listen for and who is who already. And then wait for their time to make their move. This dude got Big Bambino real comfortable with him and took him out of here. Now the whole prison is in shock and all like, man, they can't believe it. Everybody talk about this, for the rest of the night. All you hear is people just talking about this. And now everybody still know that Buttman is basically alone with a bunch of boys. Your 2 biggest hitters is gone. Gemini and Big Bambino gone. Remember, Lil Bambino still, haven't came back to this dorm since his brother sent them boys to beat him with them battery socks. So Buttman in here with a bunch of boys all by himself. And you could see the look on his face then change. You could see his posture then change. You could see him constantly on guard. Now he confused. He don't even know his next move. But this then played right into our hands. This the best thing that could have happened for the Njcip crew. Now, with just the Njcip crew, we can neutralize the whole crew. Not to mention, we got the community with us. We got Vago and his boys. We got Stupid and his boys. We got Jay over there. Man, we got enough people to really slaughter them. And we got their weapons. So we don't just go into immediate attack mode. You know, we just move the plan date up. You know, because now we got to take this opportunity before anything else change in the prison. We see how weak they is. But you got to keep in mind, even though they two biggest hitters gone, they still got some size with all these boys they done accumulated over a period of time. So they still kind of deep, but with just the Njcip crew alone, we have an upper hand. Not to mention everybody else that then join forces with us. So I'm going to come back today. I just didn't want to leave you guys hanging and give you, kind of catch you up. And then now I can finish the story all the way out because I'll finish it all the way out when I come back. Like I told y'all, I had to cover for a sick employee at my business, so I'll come back and upload the last video to this series today, because the prison it still gets hectic while all this going on